Hi, Sam here. So, I haven't really made a transgendered video yet or ever. Um, so I guess I'm doing one today. Um, so I think I knew I was male in a pretty young age. Um, as far as back as probably kindergarten is when I would play house with a friend who was new to school, and I was very malish. Like my mom and dad gave me like this buzz cut and kept joking, or like, "Oh, you're like your little brother's big brother," and I would laugh and be like, "Yeah, I am," and wear like overalls and stuff, and that made me feel so good. It made me feel so normal too. Um, but it was only for a short time. Um, I enjoyed like being the guyish person among like my friends, where we'd play house, and then Gabrielle would be the mom, and then I would be like the dad, and I took that role, and I was like I ran with it, and I loved it so much, just like being like the father figure, and like just being like a man. And then I guess just like bam, and then puberty hit when I was in junior high and or middle school, and um, fifth grade, and it was horrible. It was devastating. Um, Getting my period, I thought I was dying. I didn't know what it was. Growing up in a very conservative household. At the time, I lived in a shelter with my parents, and I found out when I was in a McDonald's bathroom. So not fun times. And some old lady, I guess I didn't lock the stall because I got freaked out, and some lady barged in, and I just started screaming, and she screamed, and then it wasn't the best experience ever. It was kind of funny now that I look back on it. Um, but I'd always push against it. I hated having a chest. I hated how when I put on a shirt, it like was just there, and um, up until, and I would just ignore it, and I would just think, this is what I have to put up with. I guess maybe in a different life things will change or whatever. I guess it's just something that I'll just have to learn to deal with. Um, so I did. And when I came to university, now I'm in my fourth, fifth year, around last year, started getting out of control. I started buying, like, I was just pretty butch, because at that time I identified as a lesbian, and I would wear like button-up T-shirts. I always shopped at like the women's section, but got like collared shirts, and I got one that was a size bigger than me, but it didn't make me happy. It didn't make me feel complete, and um, I just hated it. And that's when I started discovering it wasn't what I was wearing; it was my chest, and just I hated it so much. And that's when I just was scrolling around the internet, and I saw some pictures of ace bandages, or I watched like an anime, and the one character would be gender bending, and that's when I first got introduced to like switching genders, just through because I still didn't know the term transgender for a while, and um, gender bending was like one of the things that I was really obsessed with. I'd be on Manga Box, and I'd be looking up gender bending for like I'd read different like comics on gender bending, and saw that some of them would use ace bandages to flatten their chest. So I would take like my dad's ace bandages that he actually just uses for his legs, because he not well, and I would just take it and strap. And this is not me promoting ACE. Do not use ACE bandages. There are good ways of binding, but ACE bandages are not good for you. They hurt your rib cage. They're horrible for your breathing. Don't do it, like, ever. Don't use ACE bandages. Use a binder. They're like, getting a binder is good. So bind safely. But after like getting like cysts in my chest, and I went to the doctor, and I would be in pain, and breathing hurt, bending down hurt, picking up my backpack and going to class hurt, everything hurt, until I got examined. And getting my chest examined was the first time I've ever done. I've never really had anyone examine my chest before, and it was not a good experience. It felt so vulnerable, and it hurt. Like, she would barely touch me, and I'd be like cringing and like clutching onto like the bed seat, and I didn't tell them why it hurt so much. I wasn't binding with ACE bandages that day when I went to the doctor's, because I had a very conservative doctor who I didn't feel comfortable talking to about. I mean, I didn't feel comfortable identifying or telling him why I was doing this. And at the time, there's a female person who was interning for him for only the week. And she was so nice, and I'm so glad she was the one who was doing it. But I didn't tell her why my chest hurt so much, but she was so kind to say that, a lot of people, mostly women, get cysts in their chest, and that it's not, because I was Googling away, and I thought, oh my god, it's something serious, it's something bad. And we had that kind of scare with my mom. So my mom had a cyst before, and I thought it was something bad, and she thought it was something bad, and then I thought, oh my god, but maybe I have, like, a WebMD is like not a really good place to look if you're trying to self-diagnose yourself. You just end up freaking yourself out. But it took talking with some friends and one friend helped me out a lot by helping me like go online and look up binders, and then I slowly, got into it, and another friend showed me this place down at downtown Toronto where I can go to a store and buy one, and the people there are fantastic. They were very accommodating. I got stuck in some binders, and they were so kind to come in and help me get out, so that was pretty funny. But yeah, I have identified as being a transgender male quite not that long ago, actually. I came out to my parents, and it did not go so well, because I only sent my dad a letter through an email, because he's much more religious than anybody else in the household, as being the male figure. I told my mom, who doesn't live here but lives overseas, and she did not have the best response. She basically used female pronouns and was reminding me what body I was in, and that basically what any conservative parents would say to their kid if they came out as transgender. But it didn't bother me as much, because this is the second time I've been coming out to her. The hardest was coming out as queer to them. I think coming out as queer 2 years ago and leaving the household and living on my own has softened the blow for this. They already had their initial shock, so that helped. But I don't know, like, I think it'll be a process to my brother has been fantastic. I came out. He was one of the first people that I came out as queer to. He's known even before I left, or even before I told my family. He's been nothing but the best. Like, I love him to pieces. I also came out to him as being transgender. He's been nothing but concerned, of course. He wants, of course, like as anyone, they want to make sure you're gonna take the healthy precautions, and that you are going through the evaluations and all that great stuff. So he's been great. He always asks me how am I doing. If I don't respond within a week, he'll text me. I told him I was on T, and he's just been fantastic. He listens. He doesn't impose any of his thinking on me, and I think he's learning a lot more about the LGBTQ plus community, and that's fantastic. My brother has been one of the best allies I've had, and it's fantastic because me and my brother haven't always been so close. As kids, we would be enemies, and it's so fantastic to have him. As an ally, and to have him in my life, and have him around. Because sometimes when you're coming out to family, you think that you're gonna lose them all. It doesn't necessarily happen. I mean, with friends, and I've seen in my community that coming out to family, it'll create a definite drift. It might ruin your relationship. Things might crumble and fall like a building, but it should. I mean, not that it should, but it's not a bad thing. It's not the worst thing possible, because if something is destroyed, it just later in life, you can just build a new relationship, a healthier one. And that is what has happened when I came out as queer initially. Our relationship wasn't the best before I came out as queer. It was unhealthy for my physical, emotional, and mental health. You know, that's where I was really questioning life and living, but I didn't know that, and it was toxic. Now there's more dialogue. I tell them to back off, and they will, because they know that if they push me too hard, that, you know, it's very unhealthy for me. So there's clear boundaries, and if the relationship with parents are too strict, I honestly recommend that boundaries are really good things to do. And it took me months of counseling and having my counselor talk to me about boundaries and setting them for my parents. They're not the type to listen, or they're usually the ones to just be like, you know, you do this, and like, you're gonna do this, or you're gonna listen to me, or it's my way or the highway. But that's when you shut things down and be like, no, you take a step back, and you don't put up with it. And it took me a while to figure out that I don't have to put up with it, that your health comes first. But yeah, it's been great so far. I am 1 month on T. It's been, you know, as you can tell, like, I'm at that puberty stage where, like, my throat is a bit scratchy and high. My appetite increases. My hormones are all over the place. But I'm glad to see some changes in myself, and it's fantastic. So I guess you can comment below, and yeah. So I look forward to hearing from you guys soon. Bye.